The COVID Delta variant, first discovered in India, has now been found around the globe in 49 states, including Alabama. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Kenesha Dees. The strain's rapid rate of transmission prompting a stronger push by officials around the world for more vaccinations. Our Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has the story.
Global concern mounting as the highly contagious COVID Delta variant rapidly spreads across the world. Here in the U.S., the strain accounts for at least 20% of new infections, and health experts warn we could see more outbreaks as the Delta variant continues to transmit among unvaccinated people.
It's going to be hyper-regionalized, where there's certain pockets of the country where you can have very dense outbreaks.
The most vulnerable, communities with low vaccination rates, including some southern states where the number of people getting inoculated is below the national average. While roughly 46%, or 152 million Americans, are now fully vaccinated, according to the CDC, officials say that's not enough.
The answer to the Delta variant is more and more and more vaccination.
Meanwhile, in the UK, 99% of new COVID patients were infected with the Delta variant. This, as the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control warns of a grim prediction for the continent.
90% of infections will be of this variant by the end of August.
And a just-released study out of Oxford University suggests mixing and matching doses of two different COVID-19 vaccines could provide enough protection against the virus and its variants. This could help bolster the vaccine rollout. Spain and Germany already allowing vaccine mixing for young people who received AstraZeneca as their first dose. And because of the dangerous Delta variant, the World Health Organization is urging even vaccinated people to continue wearing masks. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.